Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today with our fireside chat with Delta Apparel. I'm thrilled to be here today with Bob Humphreys, the CEO of Delta Apparel, and Deb Merrill, the CFO of Delta Apparel. Delta Apparel just reported their annual figures, and basically what's so exciting is they surpassed their LLY numbers, both in terms of sales and operating income. For those of you who are new to Delta Apparel, they design, manufacture, source, and market core activewear and lifestyle apparel products. And they also have one of their primary brands being Salt Life and also Delta. They're the market leader in the direct-to-garment digital print and fulfillment industry, which frankly brings DTG-to-go technology and innovation to the supply chain of their customers, all what's very essential and needed today. So with that, we're going to have a conversation. And Deb and Bob, thank you so much for being here. Our audience, thank you. Hope everyone had a terrific Thanksgiving weekend and hopefully a safe and happy holidays as we move forward. Let's talk a little bit about, given that you surpassed your LLY figures in this most recent fiscal year, tell us, Bob, what were the takeaways, the accelerants that COVID drove the business with? What did you see?
Well, we saw some long-term trends really just move forward quickly that was driven to some degree by COVID. Obviously, consumer spending directly with brands and with our own company and brands moved forward at an accelerated pace. But we also saw changes in the supply chain and how people felt about their supply chain and the investments and decisions that they were willing to make to partner with people that they thought truly had a defensible position and a secure supply chain that we could deliver products on time, to spec, the right quality, and with consumer behaviors and thoughts in mind as it reflects to ESG initiatives.
Got it. And any other takeaways that you saw of the business, Deb, on your end, that basically drove the business to surpass the prior year's numbers?
Yeah, I agree with what Bob said. I think we just always take a new look at things and a new look at how we service our customers. We've got a broad base of customers, and I think that helps us through these times when certain channels are up and certain channels are not, have not rebounded. And I think our broad-based customers that we have helped us to exceed our numbers. But then also our innovative thinking to do things differently than other people are doing them so that people have confidence in our ability to service their needs.
Got it. And given that some of the audience may be new to Delta Apparel, would you like to tell exactly what you guys do and how you see the growth path go forward?
Sure. Well, at our core, we're a vertically integrated producer of basic activewear apparel. And just as important as producing the products, the technology that we have that follows the product from our manufacturing platform all the way into either the end consumer or to our retail or brand partner in the business. So we truly bring a lot of technology to the table to enable our products to ultimately get to the end consumer that the brand or retailer is targeting. Just a few of the highlights that's really driving our business is we do have our Salt Life brand that is well known across the country, particularly in the Southeast. We've been operating that business for about 10 years from what was basically a startup where we bought the IP, and it's grown to over a $50 million business this prior year. We're expecting strong growth this year. Last year was a record revenue year for the business and record earnings for the year. And all three channels of distribution, our wholesale, our retail businesses, and our e-commerce businesses are all growing nicely for us. As Deb mentioned, we are a significant printer of garments using digital technology. We are a market leader in that and the only vertical supplier in that industry. So we can take apparel that we manufacture in facilities that we operate in Central America and Mexico and bring those to 9 different digital print locations scattered around the US to service our customers and the end consumer with high quality and quick delivery to their home or business. That is a very fast changing business, as you might imagine. We believe that where digital goes is going to transform a marketplace, and we're seeing that happen in the basic apparel business now with print on demand. Across that, though, we do have broad sales channels in our business and diverse customer base. That's been one of our tenets of how we've run our business for decades now, so that we're not dependent on any one channel or any one customer. So we don't have any customers that are over 10% of our revenue, and we sell through many different channels of distribution and ways to get to our end customer. We are a supply chain partner with our customers, and they know us well for that in our manufacturing platform that starts in Central America and Mexico, and then with distribution centers all across the United States to service our customers quickly and minimizing freight costs. Obviously, that's been front of mind of many people over the last year. And so by having the ability to print a garment close to our end customer or ship a garment to our wholesale customers and minimize that shipping time and cost is a key advantage that we have. As I mentioned, our manufacturing platform is something that we've built over the years. So we make textile products, the fabric in our garments in Honduras. We have 2 large sewing facilities in Honduras, one in El Salvador and one in Mexico, and one in the US. And they're modern, they're efficient. We employ about 8,000 people in those 5 or 6 locations and have a great workforce and a great transportation process with that. And because of that, we can fulfill our distribution centers and service our customers. As I mentioned, we have strategically built out where our distribution centers are, and to minimize freight costs, minimize time to the consumer. So much of our business is bought on an at-once basis, and our customers are looking to be able to order product and have it shipped out the next day. We've worked on sustainability. It's obviously in the news prominently right now. We've actually worked on that for decades. The good news in our business is not only is it the right thing to do for the environment, we find it's the right thing to do for the economics of operating our business. So as we save water or chemical usage or use less energy in heating up product, have less waste, not only does it have a positive impact on the environment, it has a cost impact to us to lower our use of materials and minimizes what we put in landfills and all of those things. So it's been exciting to see that. We document it much stronger today, and always like to tell our shareholders about it and have a prominent piece on that in our proxy. We ended this year, I think, in a really great spot. We got rid of a couple of small businesses that were no longer strategic to us. It allowed us to focus really strongly on the real tenets that are driving the growth and profitability of Delta Apparel, and reduce some costs on things that we had been working on that had not met our expectations. So as we go into fiscal 2022, we have our Salt Life business that's very focused on that brand and servicing their customer base. We have our activewear business that has 3 true channels of distribution that drives the volume there. That's the workhorse of our company. And then we have DTG to go, which, as Dana was saying, is really transforming how printed garments are brought to market and to the end consumer.
A lot going on, Bob. A lot of exciting things that sets you up for the next few years.
Yeah, we're really excited. Obviously coming off a record profit year for our company. Our balance sheet is in really good shape. Our debt as a multiple of EBITDA is the best it's been in probably at least 15 years, about 2.5 times trailing year EBITDA. We have a good bit of capital planned for the upcoming year to expand our manufacturing capabilities, primarily that and some IT projects. But we're really looking forward to debottlenecking some of our manufacturing and being able to produce more product for our customers. Obviously, we'll be continuing to invest in digital print to further build out our network there and some strategic IT projects along the way. So really looking forward to the year. We'll be opening probably 7 or 8 Salt Life stores. We've already opened one this year, and prior to Christmas, we have a second location that will be opened up in Sarasota, Florida. So getting the year off to a strong start there as well.
Got it. Tell us, one of the key macro topics that's a topic of discussion is supply chain. And for you, given the locations of your production, you're in a little bit of a difference in a different place, in a better spot. Tell us a little bit about supply chain, what it's meant for you. We've gotten questions about anything in Vietnam or other countries from a sourcing perspective for Delta.
Yeah, so the great thing about Delta Apparel and all the conversations around supply chain is we are a great supply chain, and we are a supply chain to ourselves and to our customers. So we're kind of in a unique place now. And I think it's exciting that suddenly the whole world is thinking more about a supply chain and how robust it is and how it can withstand shocks to the system. And our customers and their customers have seen that Delta has a very robust supply chain. We have diversity of where we manufacture product. That wasn't by accident. It's things that we've been working on really for decades now, to not have, all of our eggs in one basket. And it allowed us to keep producing product through the pandemic, at a lower rate, but we kept producing product. We kept our distribution centers running, and we kept shipping product to our customers. So, and we have obviously a very short time and distance to get goods to the U.S. from Central America and Mexico versus the Far East. We do keep product in our distribution centers across the United States. So we obviously have a big time to market advantage. And you think about with DTG to go, I've been doing this a long time. You can tell from my gray hair. And I remember, when there was a 4-month cycle to get apparel to market and things, and we kept trying to get a week out here and a week out there, and the industry did. But then now with our digital printing, we've basically taken that time to market for a consumer really to zero. They can order a product today through a host of our customer partners, and we can ship that decorated product that they specifically ordered to them, if not today, within 24, 36 hours. So it's just a dramatic breakthrough that's a true game changer. Now, back to your question though, on Vietnam and China and what have you, obviously we have a significant time advantage, and we all know time is money. And it's particularly valuable when you can make your decision from a merchandising or printing or design standpoint much later in the sales cycle, as I say, really all the way up to instantaneously now with digital print. But even in higher volume, productions for a mass marketeer or what have you, we can still shorten that cycle. It gives them the ability to make their decisions, later, closer to the consumer, taking action. And now with transportation costs only getting higher, then it really takes away a lot of the economic advantages that the Far East has had over, Central America and Mexico. My belief is that we're going to see a continued economic expansion in these countries, which is going to be good for their populations. It's going to be good for the countries. I think it's going to be good for our hemisphere. It's going to allow, further development of skills and investment in Central America. And it will have a more secure supply chain for all of us.
And then, Deb, you want to tell us about pricing, inflation, how you're thinking about it, and inventory going forward? Then I have questions coming in, so I have a bunch of questions for you that's from our audience.
Okay, sure, yes. Of course, everybody in the industry and pretty much everybody across industries are dealing with the inflationary pressures. I would just make a comment that, it's not only the cost, but, as you just mentioned, the supply chain and the ability to get raw materials and different things that we would need. I would say that we have done, I think, an outstanding job through our long-term relationships that we have, and also our ability to be quick on our feet to secure the supply chain we need to keep our manufacturing going. We obviously, costs are increasing. I think we did a great job throughout calendar 2021 in staying ahead of these and understanding the risks that were out there and passing price increases as necessary to the marketplace, and understanding what this environment could look like. Right now, the fact that our inventories are short is a good place to be. And understanding, different things can change rapidly. So we've had, a philosophy at Delta Apparel to be light on our feet, to be able to change quickly, to be able to, accommodate what is needed out there as marketplaces change very rapidly. And I think that's one of the benefits that we have as we go through these unusual times that the world is going through.
Got it. One of the questions from our audience is about capital allocation. What is your philosophy on capital allocation? How do you see that over the next few years? Thank you.
Well, our mentality that gets to almost everything we do is return on capital employed. That's how our incentive systems are designed to work. And so obviously that gives us a reflection on how we want to think about our capital and capital allocations. Sometimes you have to do things for other reasons, but at our core, we're looking at return on capital employed. So, right now, the place that we can have the highest return is in Salt Life store build outs and in DTG to go. And then I would say the third, and it's a little bit maybe trickier to understand, but is debottlenecking our manufacturing processes. So we're in the process of getting more textile production out of our existing facility. We don't have to start all over and build everything. We just look at the processes on the mix that we're using, and then you can buy selected pieces of equipment or make some process change to get more production out and lever all the fixed costs that's associated with textile production. So just for example, we opened a couple of stores just over a year ago in Salt Life, and we spent about $450,000 on the build out. We're very efficient on our build out costs, about $100,000 in inventory. And in the first year, those two stores each did over $1.5 million in revenue with operating profit of over 30%. So you can see, basically a year payback on the whole thing. It's great to find ways to invest money like that for sure.
One of the questions just came in about your view of cash from operations. How do you see where you apply that cash from operations, whether it's capital spending, working capital changes? How do you see cash per share, and maybe intertwine with that? You mentioned share buybacks or Dutch tenders as potential options. Do you have availability for those options?
Mm-hmm. We do have availability, certainly for share repurchases and Dutch tenders, which obviously takes a little bit more planning. We did do one early in our history as a public company. Delta Apparel spun off from a public company just over 20 years ago, but we did not raise any capital when we did that. So anyway, we had excess cash flow quickly and did do a Dutch tender back then. So we've been through that process. But generally speaking, I mean, we see a good opportunity to grow our business organically right now, the best in our history. And so, we would obviously use our cash flow to fund growing the business, some equipment, some more inventory, perhaps accounts receivable. It's interesting that some places that are growing the fastest have the least accounts receivable associated with it. So obviously retail stores, we get paid immediately. The DTG to go business, we receive money quicker than in some other areas of our business. So we're actually growing our business and having less day sales outstanding. So that's obviously makes us happy. But then we'll continue to look for ways that build shareholder value, and obviously buying back shares we think is a good way to invest that capital, and or dividends if that was appropriate when we got there.
Got it. And then we just got an incoming on DTG to go. What gives you the confidence that growth will return to 20% plus in the higher margin DTG to go segment. How do you see that evolving and in what time frame?
So it's evolving right now. We have several new transformational customers that Deb and her team onboarded, the last quarter or so of the prior fiscal year. So we are making product and shipping it as we speak. We'll be doing it tonight as well. And what this is really, we started in digital print, I think it was about 12 years ago when we acquired a small company that had no revenue, but we saw digital print. We were a big screen printer, and we felt like if there's a digital capability, we had to be a part of that, and we were going to force feed ourselves. Took us a couple of years to get that where it was kind of breaking even. In a couple more years, it was starting to make some money, and another year or two, it was 4-quarter profitable. But all of that business was really what we now call e-commerce businesses. It was just products that were sold strictly through e-commerce sites. But we knew that the real win was major brands, major retailers adopting digital print and that changing their business model. And that was where the huge volume was. Quite frankly, that took longer than we thought it would. The conversation was easy, but getting people to sign up for the technology and exchange of data and how customers were going to be billed, there were a lot of questions. And obviously, technology has changed on all those fronts dramatically over the last 10 years. But just really in the last 18 months or 2 years, those customers started coming to us working through this. We've mentioned Hot Topic before. That was a couple of years ago. We got started with them. They were really on the forefront of this thinking. We even have a manufacturing facility in their DC so that we can merge product that customers buy that we're not the supplier of. It's really been a great example of how this can completely change a supply chain and how you get to the end consumer. So anyway, fast forward from that, the last couple of years, other major customers, have come on board, and there'll be, I think, more to say about that in the coming quarters as they, complete some of their transformations. But we're already making and shipping product for them as we speak.
And I would just add to what Bob had to say, that, a lot of that, and people will focus on just this holiday season. The big growth opportunities in digital print is really that year-round business. So one of the areas we are most excited with some of the new customer launches, and many of them just got started right at the end of our fiscal year and into October. So a lot of further growth for them to kind of finish their build out of what they want for this. But I think that's the big opportunity, is really the 9 months after the holiday season and how that can build out. And I think that's the big win for years to come, is a even stronger year-round business, which these type of customers allow you to have much more than the traditional e-retail business.
And then when you think about this business with DTG to go and the partnership opportunities, one of the questions we had just got, given the several new clients that are launching for the segment, any color on the size of these customers, the types of these retailers?
Yeah, so I'd say they're all major, really national or international brands. Some of them are large license holders, some of them are retailers, and some of them are major brands. So really a diversity of customer base, and I think it really speaks strongly about the value of digital print combined with the technology that we've brought to bear in our 9 locations that we can print out of. And we have really several different types of digital print machinery that then we've tweaked to fit our needs. Tweak generally means software, it's different than what we used to think about. And where we can make product that fits a variety of end consumers' expectations. So it's really combining a lot of different components together, and allows us to really service a diverse customer base and have a lot of flexibility about how we do that, the transparency to the customer, UPC codes for people who want a digital print, but also a retail, tie-in. So it's a lot of the technology that we've developed in our company for years for different ways. We've been able to bring it all into our digital print business to really service customers the way they were expecting.
And then I would also add to that just very quickly. The other interesting thing is that really all of these new customer launches that we're doing are participating not only in the digital print, but also utilizing our full supply chain in one way or the other to see that benefit of a full supply chain backing up the entire digital print. So the integration of customers across our different business units is another thing that we're seeing recently with all of these new launches that I think really just shows the strength of the relationship across Delta Apparel Inc.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Deb. And particularly with the supply chain disruptions we've had, a lot of these people, they can't get the garments, the base garments they want without us. And us being vertical on that, once again, just shows the power of our company and its vertical and customers.
That's all very exciting, because I think of those are all the opportunities that help drive the double-digit growth that's expected in this upcoming fiscal 22 year. And
yeah, we're obviously happy with going into a new year and having gotten over some big goal lines that we've been working on for years, and the culmination of that. And so yes, it's an exciting time to be at Delta Apparel.
What do you think is the most misunderstood element of the company?
I think the technology that we bring to bear. You can have a sewing plant, you can build a textile plant, but when you can link all that together electronically now, send orders where they're closest to the consumer, send orders to a different place if there's a power outage or a snowstorm or a hurricane, all these things that disrupt things, we can now, I like to tell people, we can ship things electronically. And you think about how hard it is to ship things today from a capacity and a cost standpoint. So, if our partners, customers in California, well, we basically ship that to California electronically, print it there, or just outside of California in that case, and ship it to that customer. So the same thing across the country. So it's things like that that, I think really separates us and really makes it difficult for people to compete with us. It's a long time in building all this out, and particularly in developing the software systems and technology that drives it all.
Deb, a last one for you. Any benchmarks that we should be looking for to enhance the profitability metrics?
I think it's just, again, that the different things that we have talked through, the initiatives that we have that are really margin boosters, from the more direct consumer business that we can have, the more service level type business that we can have. When we can sell service, we can be much more profitable at that. And it ties you to your customers. So I think as we look at our business being getting closer and closer to the end consumer, is another area that I think we're ahead of the curve, and that certainly drives our overall profitability and sustainability of our profitability in years to come.
Well, the path, whether it's with Delta Group, DTG2Go, Salt Life, and Activewear, you have multiple engines in order to move the needle forward. And it's exciting, especially with the catalyst that you have for continued growth. Congratulations, Bob and Deb, of getting to the other side and the opportunities that lie ahead. I want to thank you very much for participating today. I want to thank the audience for participating, and also remind everyone that the next Share Conference will take place on December 13th, featuring energy and industrial companies. Thank you for participating and listening to the growth story of Delta Apparel. Have a good holiday, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.